Now, members of ECOWAS have congratulated Nigeria for the successful conduct of the country's election that led to the emergence of President Bola Tinubu. Their message was conveyed at the opening ceremony of the 63rd Ordinary Session of the Authority of ECOWAS Heads of State and Government. The President of Guinea-Bissau, Umaro Sissoco Embalo, in his opening speech, commended Nigeria for the sustenance of peace and strengthening of democracy in the West African region. He also said the situation in Mali, the Republic of Guinea, and Burkina Faso, with regard to the prolongation of the transition period, represents a regression of the values of democratic rule of law adopted by member states through the Supplementary Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. He insists the return of democracy in the three countries is significant in the search for political stability in West Africa.
I would like, therefore, to welcome President Tinubu to his first meeting of the ECOWAS Authority. On behalf of the community institutions, I would like to extend our felicitation and best wishes in piloting the affairs of Africa's biggest economy and the largest country, the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
To warmly congratulate our brothers, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu of Nigeria and the Julius Maada Bio of Sierra Leone on the election and their election, respectively, to the supreme magistracy of their country, and to wish them great success and to continue the fact of these two great brothers people.
Well, let's talk more about the emergence of President Bola Tinubu as chairman of ECOWAS. Joining me for more on that conversation is international affairs analyst Paul Ejime. Thank you for joining us on TVC News at 1. Well, it's quite a tough time to take up leadership of ECOWAS. But then, what would you say is the significance of President Tinubu's emergence?
Thank you for having me. Well, first of all, let's congratulate Nigeria for that appointment or election, and then His Excellency President Ahmed Bola Tinubu for his colleagues finding him worthy of this role, knowing that he's just new there. In fact, his elections are still to settle, but that is what it is. So it is a rotational thing, like I said, going around the language zones of ECOWAS. They use the Anglophone, Lusophone, and Francophone. A Lusophone member, Guinea-Bissau, the President Embalo has just finished the term, and then he was preceded by the Francophone, and then it is now the turn of the Anglophone. So that is, like you mentioned it in your passing, that is a big ask for him, knowing that Nigeria, a big country, its population is more than the combination of all the other 14 countries. Of course, it's a big economy. It has a lot going for it, but there are also some challenges. And then for him, for the this task being thrust on President Tinubu, in addition to what the region is going through, you heard when Balu was talking about what constituted recession of democracy with three countries under, or three of the 15 countries of ECOWAS under military rule. Well, it is a challenge. And he has taken it up. I think in his acceptance speech, he said he will live up to it and will not disappoint his colleagues. But what be said that not just Nigerians are yearning for good leadership. In the region, Africa, and the world, they are also waiting for Nigeria to assert itself. I mean, there has been some, lacuna, some gaps in leadership that I think needs to be filled. And President Tinubu says he's capable, and then he will do that. So, well, time will tell.
All right, you have mentioned the fact that the president said he is capable to do that, and he has promised to prioritize political stability, peace and security, regional economic integration, among others. How much of confidence, of trust, do you have in his ability to deliver on this promise?
Well, charity, they say in Africa, begins at home. So he has to, first of all, show his that capability in governing Nigeria, and then before he now extends this to across the shores to meet the estimated 400 million people that constitute the ECOWAS community. So it's up to him. He has a job cut out for him. First, to unite a Nigeria that appears divided, and for the rest of the international community, and beginning with the region, to now have the confidence and say, well, here we are, our leader, Nigeria, and these leaders, they are showing good example, and then we have to follow. So that is where where he has to start. And then when that is done, I think the rest will, will fall in place. If Nigeria shows that it is capable of governing itself and capable of leadership, from all the indications from the potentials, but potentials needs to be translated into reality. Resources, human and natural resources. That is there. It's always been there since independence. But the challenge has always been, what do you make of these resources? And then President Tinubu says he can do that. In fact, he told the colleagues that Nigeria is back, to quote him. So we have to see how Nigeria, where was Nigeria, and how come it is just coming back? And how does it come back? These are his words, that Nigeria is back. So we have to, the community, the world, and Nigerians, we have to take him up on that.
Let's talk about the strength and authority of ECOWAS. How can this body be repositioned such that it is able to proactively address issues before they become full-blown?
Yes, part of it comes from the constitution, election, and then the leaders themselves. In the past 10 years, we have kept saying that it is the erosion, the absence of good leadership that has allowed the decline of retreat of democracy. For instance, you have some leaders who are talking about third term. Look at Senegal. Only is it a week ago that the president there, Macky Sall, had to go back on the fact that he was pushing for a third term. But this led to street protests, and about 16 people died. That is what the leaders have to talk about, to talk to themselves. And, don't push. It's not about leadership. It's not about one person or the political ambition of one person or a group of people. They are for the people. ECOWAS talks about ECOWAS of people and not of ECOWAS of state. So this has to come in reality, not just in the slogan. The fact that the people have to see the benefit of so-called democracy in terms of having food on their table, in terms of the quality, standard of living, in terms of access to education, good health, infrastructure, and then respect for human rights. It is, remember that it is political coups that has happened over these three countries that actually led to military coups, where people do not respect the constitution, where elections are rigged, and where they change electoral law and or clamp down on opposition. They don't disregard court rules and court decisions and then human rights. These are things that give rise to, the strain that democracy has had in West Africa. And I thought it was high time that this is cleared. And how do they do that? Begin by making sure that the process for selection of leaders is transparent, it's credible, and that the citizens do their part and hold leaders accountable. When they promise you that this is what they are going to deliver, you take them on that. Kudos to the Senegalese, even though 16 people had to die. But it was their insistence that has now made President Macky Sall to stop this syndrome of third term. If somebody has had 1 or 2 terms in government, if he has not delivered in those maybe 8 years or 10 years, you wonder what magic.
Fundamental issues there that need to be addressed. Yes. Very, very fundamental. International affairs analyst Paul Ejime, thank you very much for talking to us on TVC News at 1.